In the continuation of the previous lecture on the surface flow, we have to discuss today energy dissipation. And for the energy dissipation, we'll discuss the hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin. So let me share with you the slide of the hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin and what would be the procedure for the design of the hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin. In general, I think I had discussed with you in the previous lecture, there are broadly two ways of the dissipation of the energy. Even though the primary mechanism of the dissipation of the energy, that is turbulence, but you see the generation of the turbulence that may be due to a vertical fall, right? Or that may be due to the hydraulic jump, right? So we'll discuss today the hydraulic jump, and then we'll move to the subsurface flow, right, for the hydraulic structures. Whatever we are going to discuss right now regarding the hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin, invariably that concept you can use in any type of the structure where the energy dissipation is required and the condition is favorable to the hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin. Okay, right? So whatever we are discussing right now, that is not very specific to a particular structure. This is a general discussion, right? And whatever the generic discussion that we have, that concept you can use for this design of the any hydraulic structure where the energy dissipation on the basis of the hydraulic jump that is required. Okay, so let me share the hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin. I will discuss with you the procedure. Okay, what are the various types of the hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin, right? So let me share this. So now, could you see this? Could you see this slide? Okay. So we'll discuss today this hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin, right? And the today discussion is of this hydraulic jump type of the Staley basin. And for that, let us just review the hydraulic jump. Okay. So you have, this is just a revisiting. Okay. You have seen that in the open channel flow that you have already gone through. I mean the channel hydraulics. So once there is a supercritical flow is meeting with the subcritical flow, then there is a rise in the water level, and that rise in the water level or the jump in the water level, we are saying that one as a hydraulic jump. So here in the inflow you have the supercritical flow, here you have the subcritical flow, and in this hydraulic jump there is a lot of the turbulence in this area. Okay, you have the rollers also, right? Okay, and that is moving in both the direction, that is reversing back, right? Now if you have a more intense more intense turbulence means you have the more dissipation of the energy, right? So if you see the terms of the energy, you see this one is the energy level in the upstream, and this one is the energy level in the downstream. So your loss in this case is EL, right? You will not get a good energy dissipation if you have the incoming Froude number low, right? And if the incoming Froude number is very high, in that case this roller that moves in the downstream, so there is a lot of the surface disturbances, right, due to the residual energy. Okay, the more stable jump that is to be considered if you have the Froude number, I mean about 4, 5, 6 like that. Okay, right? So this one you have already gone through. What would be the relation between y2 and y1? Y2 by y1 is equal to half minus 1 1 plus under root 8 f1 square, right? That one you knowing, right? And you have also gone through what is the this water surface profile. What would be the water surface profile? right? You have also gone through in this classical hydraulic jump, what will be the loss? This loss EL is equal to Y2 minus Y1, okay, to the power 3 divided by 4 Y1 and Y2, right? So you have also seen this one, right? So this one just revisiting, okay? So you have this hydraulic jump sequent depth relationship, right? I'm not going in the detail. The energy dissipation, right? So you have in the classical hydraulic jump, you have this energy dissipation. That one I had already written. You can write that one in the terms of the Froude number, and this one is interesting to see, right? How the energy dissipation, I mean, that is varying with the incoming Froude number, right? Or you can see here the rate of increase of the dissipation of the energy in this part is very high, but once the hydraulic this F1 that increases, then the rate of the dissipation of the energy that decreases, right? Okay, so that is not very beneficial if you have a very high Froude number, okay? And classification of the hydraulic jump, you have already gone through the ondular type of the jump. Of course, this is not desirable from the energy dissipation point of view. This one is a very weak jump. This is also not desirable, okay? This one is oscillating. This one is also not desirable, right? Desirable in the sense that you will not get a good dissipation of the energy. You will get the good dissipation of the energy in the steady jump, okay? Right? If you are designing, I think you should have a steady jump. In that case, of course, the jump will also not move in the upstream or the downstream, and that will be also stable, right? If you have a strong jump where the Froude number is greater than 9, in that case, of course, you will get lot of the disturbances on the surface, okay? So that is not desirable, right? Then, of course, what would be the length of the jump? See here, we are talking here a classical jump. Classical jump means what is the roughness of the floor in the classical jump? If you have a formation of the jump here, what is the roughness of the floor here? Do you consider some shear force which is acting, okay, I mean, from the surface to the flowing water? I mean, this surface is posing any resistance to the flowing water? This shear stress, this tau, this is equal to 0, right? So this one is a frictionless surface. We are not taking into account this tau in the derivation of the classical hydraulic jump, that is the Belanger equation, okay, right? But practically that is not like this. This means that practically there would be variation. Further, you have this one is a plane surface, but this floor that may not be a plane surface, that may be a depressed surface, right? In that case, of course, the parameters that will be different. So now the length of the jump you have seen, okay. In general, the length of the jump that is represented in the terms of the y1 and y2. I mean, you can also write in the classical jump, I mean, the sum coefficient k y2 minus y1, right? Where the k you can take 5, 6 like that, depending on the number, okay, right? Length of the jump can be also obtained from this equation. Roller. Pressure distribution, water surface profile, you have gone through. Now the location of the hydraulic jump, right? This part also you have gone through in the channel hydraulics. The only thing that I want to tell you is from the design of the hydraulic structure point of view, you should have the jump just downstream of the structure. The jump that should not be repelled, that should not be drowned, okay? These are not the desirable jump, because if the jump that will be repelled, I mean, that will go in the downstream, in that case, that will erode the bed and the banks. And if that is a drowned jump, in that case, there would not be, you see, I mean, desirable or the required energy dissipation. What is required is the free jump. And what would be the location of that one? I think you have already gone through in the channel hydraulics. I'm not repeating that one. The only thing that I want to tell you is the free jump, that is the desirable. Now we have to talk about this hydraulic jump type of the Stirling basin. I mean, what type of the Stirling basins that we are looking for the hydraulic jump. Okay, so we have you see 3-4 types of the hydraulic jump, right? Here in the Stirling basin, which is written here, let me explain to you first what actually this Stirling basin is. Okay, so let me introduce a slide. For any structure, let us say I'm talking about a barrage. Okay, you have, this is the upstream floor, then you have this raised crest, then this one is a glacis, and then you have this, and then this one is a end sill, and you have downstream sheet pile or upstream sheet pile. Okay, I think this one I already discussed with you, the upstream pile. There may be intermediate pile also. There may be intermediate pile also, and this one is the downstream pile, right? Okay. See, here you have the flow. If this is a hydraulic jump type, then the jump will form like this. So jump will form like this. This is the hydraulic jump. Okay, right? And you have the dissipation of the energy here. So since the hydraulic jump is forming in this area, hydraulic jump, this is forming in this area, right? We have to have a pakka floor. This one pakka floor that is required, right? And this pakka floor, we are saying this one as a Stirling basin. Stirling basin. This is a Stirling basin, right? Now this Stirling basin, right? There may be a various types of the Stirling basin. A classical, 1 minute. A general shape of this one I've already shared with you. A general shape of this. Let me draw this one again. So this one is a jump, a Stirling basin. And now the appurtenance that may be provided here means that a chute block that will be provided here. This is the chute block, not in all. This is the chute blocks. Here is the baffle wall that is being provided. Okay, where the hydraulic jump that is moving in the downstream, in that case the baffle walls that is being provided, and this one is the end sill, right? This end sill, this may be dentated also. This may be a plain or may be dentated also, right? So you see the combination of this, right? This is coming out with the different types of the hydraulic jump type of the Stirling basin, right? If you don't have the, let us say, the end sill or the baffle wall or the chute blocks, you have one type. If you have the baffle blocks, you have another type, right? So in this context, I would like to show you the Stirling basin number 4. Virtually, this you might be, maybe you can raise the question why we are going with the number 4. Actually, this work that is being done by the Peterka. Okay, Peterka did extensive study on this hydraulic jump. Okay, and there is a manual of the Peterka, right, of the hydraulic jump, and he come out with the various type of the Stirling basin, numbering that one as a 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, so in that series we have some of the hydraulic jump type. Okay, and that's why that is starting with the 4. So in this Stirling basin number 4, right, and one thing more that I want to tell you, the type of the basin, right, that is being decided on the basis of the exclusively two parameters. One is what is the velocity v1 and what is the incoming Froude number f1. Okay, the type of the basin that is being decided on the basis of the pre-jump velocity and the pre-jump Froude number. Okay, this type of the basin that is being provided where the Froude number is in the range of 2.5 to 4.5, right? And in this case, what happens that there is a chance of the movement of this hydraulic jump in the downstream. Then what is being done is this floor of the jump that is being lowered down, okay, by a factor of 1.1 times of the conjugate depth. I will tell you later. Okay, as far as the you see in the design, the two things that is important. Okay, one is the what is the length of the basin, and the second one is what is the invert level of the basin. I mean, this one is the invert level. This one is the invert level. So what is the length of the basin and what is the invert level? Rest of the things, okay, like what should be the size of the chute blocks, that is written here. Okay, what should be the slope of the end sill, what should be the height of the end sill, that is given here. Okay, right? So length of the basin and invert, I will tell you later on. So this is the Stirling basin 4. Then this is the Stirling basin 3. In this case, the Froude number is now higher, 4.5, and the velocity desirable here is 15, but even though if that is less than 18 meter per second, that is fine. So in this case, this is the Stirling basin type 2, okay, and here you can see the baffle walls or the baffle blocks that are introduced. So here, why these are being introduced? Because the hydraulic may move in the downstream, and that's why the baffle blocks are being provided, so that will you see apply a force, okay, in the opposite direction of the flow, and that will push the hydraulic jump to form in this Stirling basin, right? You see all the dimensions that are given here. At what distance you have this baffle walls, what is the height of the chute blocks, what is the spacing of the chute blocks, what is the slope of this baffle blocks, what is the slope of this end sill, right? What is this height, H4? H4 you can get from here, okay? And H3 you can get from this expression, okay? H3 is the height of the baffle blocks, right? So if you have decided, okay, we are going for the Stirling basin type 3, in that case, all the dimensions you can mark here, okay? Then the Stirling basin type 2, this is for a very high velocity, where velocity that is more than 18 meter per second, right? And in that case, this dentated sill that is being provided, so you can see here again, right? No baffle walls is being provided. Why it's so? Because the gravels or the boulders which is coming, that will strike to this baffle wall, and that will of course damage this baffle wall. That's why that is not being provided. Here the dentated sills are being provided, and the main idea of the dentated sill is to split the flow in the two parts. One flow that will go like this, another flow that will go like this, and then there will be mixing of these two flows. There will be mixing of these two flows, right? So you can get here what is the height of this one, all the dimensions. Now, with the length of the jump, how will get the length of the jump? You have already gone through in the channel hydraulics, but this is not a classical jump, okay? So here you have the jump in the graphical form, where the length of the basin, LB by Y2, that is related to the incoming Froude number F1. So this is a type 3, this is type 2, and this is type 4. Okay, right? So for the different Froude number, you have to select the basin, and then you have to get the length of the basin. Now we'll talk about how will do you fix the invert level of the basin. So now for that, what you have to do is, let me explain this one on this sheet. Okay. May I know what is the range of the Froude number for the steady jump?
Sir, 4.5 to 9.
Good. You are Subham?
No, sir, Sahil Yadav.
Sahil Yadav.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's good. So now, see, let me draw a typical, the section of a structure, okay, and then explain to you this, how do you design this hydraulic jump of the Stelling basin. I mean, having this discussion on the various types of the hydraulic jump type of the Stelling basin, one thing is clear, that the selection of that one, that is being decided on the basis of the Froude number F1 and the velocity, incoming velocity, the pre-jump velocity, right? And on that basis, we decide the hydraulic jump, okay, type of the Stelling basin, and then we have to fix the length of the jump and the invert level of the basin, right? Length of the jump, that is related to the Froude number, and you can see that one from the graph, right? Okay. And how do you get the invert level? I will explain to you. Okay. So let us see the procedure for that one. Okay. And that is written in the next slide, but I am explaining here. So if you have a structure, this one is the structure, okay, and in this structure, you know, for that particular discharge, the design discharge is known to you, what is the downstream, the tail water level, okay. This tail water level is known, and since the discharge is known, how much discharge for which you are designing this, right, then you can get the velocity also in the downstream. So here you can get here this velocity, and this is equal to v square by, if you are taking, let us say, I'm just writing v square by 2g. So you have the total energy in the downstream, that is this, okay. Likewise, in the upstream, you have this depth of the flow. This is the depth of the flow, and you have here, you have here the total energy in the upstream, okay. This is the PEL in the upstream. Here this is the V square by 2G. Of course, this V square by 2G is different than this, because this is of upstream, this is of downstream, right? And this difference of the upstream and the downstream total energy here, this is coming out to be HL, okay, right? HL is the loss, okay. And this one is a discharge Q. This discharge, let me take per unit width of this structure. In that case, in place of Q, we can write here a small q. So I am taking just this 1 meter width of this, right? Now, here we have two things that are known. The known parameter here is, this is the known parameter. This is Q and HL. Now, in a classical hydraulic jump, okay, if you know the small q and if you know the HL, the energy loss, you can get all the parameters, okay, right? You can get what is your pre-jump height, what is your velocity V1, then what is your Froude number, okay, what is your EF1, EF1 is your specific energy, okay, upstream, and you can get this Y2, you can get the V2, you can get the F2, okay, you can get the EF2. I mean, you can get all the hydraulics parameters, right? Knowing this two things, a small q and HL, you can get this, right? Now see here, since your total energy here is this, okay, right? So from this you have to take this EF2. EF2 is coming here. EF2 is coming here. So from here to here, this is EF2, right? And if you draw this line, if you take here, means that your hydraulic jump that is forming at this point. This is the location of the hydraulic jump. I mean the hydraulic jump that will form here. If we draw here now this profile, means that this profile that will go like this, and here because the form this is forming here, and that is sorry, that will not go up. Because this is joined here. Okay, so your hydraulic jump that will form here, right? Okay, but and then you have here, this is Y1, this is Y1, and here you have, this is the F1, and of course the Froude number, right? Okay, but in some of the hydraulic jump Stirling basin, you have seen that the Stirling basin here, this invert level, okay, that is not equal to the downstream total energy minus EF2. Virtually the invert level, I'm writing here, see this, invert level of the basin is equal to downstream total energy line minus alpha times of the EF2, right? Okay, so here this one, this distance is alpha times of the EF2. That's right. Now this, what is the alpha? In the type 4, this alpha is 1.1. Okay, in type you see 2, that is 1.05, and in type 3 where you have the Bethel blocks, that alpha is equal to unity, right? So this is, now we'll summarize how we'll I mean do the calculation. So if you have the hydraulic structure, yes.
सर ये EF2 कहाँ से कहाँ तक है, ये एक बार बता दो।
आपकी आवाज कम आ रही है या मेरा ये साउंड कम है? हाँ
सर इसमें
फिर से रिपीट।
EF2 समझ नहीं आया, मतलब कहाँ से कहाँ तक?
सर
EF2
EF2 आपका स्पेसिफिक एनर्जी है डाउन स्ट्रीम में।
तो सर ये मतलब बेड तक है ना, मतलब TEL से लेके बेड तक?
नहीं 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 नहीं, इसको बेड से, बेड डाउन स्ट्रीम की बेड से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, है ना, राइट? ये डाउन स्ट्रीम बेड से हो सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता। मैं इसकी प्रोसीजर को एक बार और रिपीट करता हूं, मैं एक दूसरा कलर ले लेता हूं और इसको मैं आपको रिपीट करता हूं, अगर क्लियर नहीं होगा तो फिर आप मुझसे मालूम कर लीजिए। आपका डाउन स्ट्रीम का टेल वाटर लेवल मालूम है, ठीक है? आपका डिस्चार्ज मालूम है तो आपको वेलोसिटी मालूम हो जाएगी, तो टोटल एनर्जी मालूम है डाउन स्ट्रीम की।
यस सर।
एक सेकेंड यार, हेलो हेलो, हाँ मैं क्लास में हूँ, कुड यू कॉल मी आफ्टर हाफ एन आवर इफ सम? Yes, yes, I have received the gasket, but now there is some problem in our ultrasonic flow meter, so that is under the repair. Okay, right? That will take 2-3 days. If you are sending someone, please, don't send right now. You call me before sending it. Okay. I will call you. Right now I'm in a class. Okay. 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 Sorry for disturbance. let me repeat. Your downstream tail water level is known, and you can get here because the downstream you have the river like this or the canal, whatever is. This one is known to you, okay? Cross section is known, your water level is known, your discharge is known here. You can get here what is the velocity, and then you can get the total energy. So this line is known to us, okay? Now coming to the upstream. Upstream water level is known to us. Then the total energy line, that is also known, because here also we know the cross section, okay? So now this is the total energy in the upstream, this is the total energy in the downstream, and then we are getting this difference of these two is the loss, okay? And we know how much is the discharge that is passing through this, right? Now with respect of this, if the hydraulic jump will form, in that case, right, we can get all the hydraulic jump parameter. You can get y1, v1. I mean, use your classical equation and you can get all this, right? This EF1 is the upstream, right, specific energy. Upstream specific energy does not mean specific energy here, no, okay? At the location where the hydraulic jump is forming, right? And EF2 is the specific energy in the downstream, right? This is not with the respect of, it is not necessary that that will be with the respect of this bed, no, right? Okay, because we have to shift the Stirling basin up and down. This invert level that is to be shifted up and down so that the hydraulic jump that will form here, okay? Then what we have to do is we have to drop this EF2 here. This line is known, our hydraulic jump will form here, okay, right? And then from here you have the EF2, from here you have the EF1, here you have the EF1, right? And here you have the EF2. This is with this line, corresponds to this line. Now this line is being shifted depending on the hydraulic jump type of the Stirling basin and this alpha that is being introduced, okay? So this you have to keep in your mind that this invert level of the basin we have to shift in such a way that the hydraulic jump that should form here, the hydraulic jump that should not move in the downstream, that should not move in the downstream, that should not go in the upstream. I mean, there should not be repelling of the jump, there should not be drowning of the jump. If it is clear, is it clear?
सर मतलब जहां पे ये हाइड्रोलिक जंप बन रहा है,
हाँ,
उसके हिसाब से EF2 डिसाइड हो रहा है, क्योंकि फिर वहां से ऐसे परपेंडिकुलर ड्रॉ करेंगे ग्लेसिस पे और फिर एक हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन ड्रॉ करेंगे और उसका डिस्टेंस TEL से जो होगा वो EF2 होगा।
हाँ हाँ, उस लाइन से होगा।
ओके सर।
और यही प्रोसीजर मैं इसमें आपको दिया हूं, लिखा हूं इसमें, ठीक है? आप देखिए TE1 निकालना, उसके बाद जो है आपको TE2 निकालना, फिर HL निकालना, फिर Q और HL से जो है सारी चीजें निकालना, ठीक है? आप इक्वेशन से निकाल सकते हैं, एक ब्लेंच कर्व होता है, मैं अभी दिखाऊंगा, उसे डायरेक्टली निकाल सकते हैं। Y2 निकालना, EF2 निकालना, राइट? और वो जो आप अभी बताए हो आप कि ड्रॉ ए लाइन एट द डेप्थ EF2 बिलो TE2 यानी टेल वाटर लेवल, है ना? टू लोकेट द पॉइंट वेयर दिस लाइन इंटरसेक्ट दिस स्लोपिंग एप्रन, जो अभी बताया था ना आपको कि ये कहां पे इंटरसेक्ट करेगी, ठीक है? वही चीज लिखी हुई है। लोकेट द हॉरिजॉन्टल एप्रन at or below this elevation, the hydraulic jump is likely to form at or above the toe of the sloping basin. EF1 निकल गया आपको, और अब आपको जो है V1 मालूम हो गया, F1 मालूम हो गया, तो आप हाइड्रोलिक जंप जो है, कौन सी हाइड्रोलिक जंप स्टिलिंग बेसिन होगी आपको पता चल गया, है ना? और जो आपका बेड ऑफ द बेसिन है, देखिए यहाँ पे वही चीज लिखा है हमने, डाउन स्ट्रीम की टोटल एनर्जी लाइन माइनस अल्फा EF2, और ये अल्फा की वैल्यू जो है 4 वाले के केस में 1.1 है, 3 वाले के केस में 1 है, लेकिन 2 में जहां पे बेफेल वॉल है या बेफेल ब्लॉक है वहां पे हम मार्जिन नहीं देते, इसलिए सॉरी टाइप 3 में टाइप 3 में मार्जिन नहीं देते इसलिए कि यहाँ पे बेफिल वॉल है, यहाँ पे बेफिल वॉल नहीं है, यहाँ पे बेफिल वॉल नहीं है, बेफिल वॉल इसमें है, राइट? इट इज क्लियर?
यस सर।
तो ये देख लीजिएगा, आपको थोड़ा किताब में इसको समझना मुश्किल होगा तो ये प्रोसीजर आप देख लीजिए। और ये ब्लेंच कर्व है, ये ब्लेंच कर्व में आपकी एक्स एक्सिस पे ये F2 है और वाई एक्सिस पे ये HL है, राइट? और ये डिस्चार्ज है, ये जो तीसरा एक्सिस है आपका, राइट, ये आपका डिस्चार्ज का है ना, ये डिस्चार्ज का। तो आपको डिस्चार्ज मालूम है, HL मालूम है, EF2 मालूम हो जाएगा। EF2 मालूम हो गया तो सारी चीजें आप निकाल सकते हैं, राइट? तो ये है आपको हाइड्रोलिक जंप टाइप ऑफ द स्टेलिंग बेसिन, और ये प्रोसीजर मैंने आपसे शेयर किया है। इस प्रोसीजर को फॉलो करते हुए आपको डिजाइन करना है, और इसमें आपके चाहे स्ट्रक्चर बैराज हो, क्रॉस रेगुलेटर हो, हेड रेगुलेटर हो, फॉल हो, कहीं पे भी जहां पे आपको एनर्जी डिसिपेशन करनी है, और ये हाइड्रोलिक जंप टाइप ऑफ द स्टेलिंग बेसिन सुटेबल है ना? कोई जरूरी नहीं कि हर एक केस में हाइड्रोलिक जंप टाइप के स्टेलिंग बेसिन आप लगा देंगे, नहीं लगा सकते, राइट? लेकिन हमने एक जनरल डिस्कशन कर लिया कि एनर्जी डिसिपेशन हमें करनी है और हाइड्रोलिक जंप टाइप का स्टेलिंग बेसिन हमें प्रोवाइड करना है, तो हमारा डिजाइन प्रोसीजर ये होगा। बताइए, कोई क्वेश्चन है तो बताइए, अदरवाइज मैं सब सरफेस फ्लो का आपको थोड़ा आइडिया देता हूं, क्योंकि वो आपको इम्पोर्टेंट है और हो सकता है कुछ कोर्स में आपने पढ़ा हो। तो उसमें तो मैं ज्यादा डिस्कशन ही करूंगा। तो ये स्लाइड दिख रही है आपको? हेलो?
यस सर।
हाँ, तो ये सब सरफेस फ्लो में जो हमें डिस्कस करनी है, जो जो आइटम्स हमें डिस्कस करने हैं, वो ब्लाई क्रीप थ्योरी है, लेन वेटेड क्रीप थ्योरी है, खोसला थ्योरी है, एग्जिट ग्रेडियंट है, अपलिफ्ट फोर्स है, जिसको जैसे आप थिकनेस डिसाइड करेंगे, राइट? तो ये सारी चीजें डिस्कस करनी है, लेकिन मैं आपको इसका बैकग्राउंड दूं, चूंकि बैकग्राउंड इसका बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, आप इसको समझें कि क्या एक्चुअल में हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं। तो मैं शुरू करता हूं, एक टिपिकल सेक्शन में ड्रॉ करता हूं हाइड्रोलिक स्ट्रक्चर का, और अब तक जो मैंने अब ड्रॉ किया वो सब एक लाइन डायग्राम था, यानी उसकी थिकनेस जो है निग्लिजिबल थी। लेकिन हाइड्रोलिक स्ट्रक्चर जो है एक निग्लिजिबल थिकनेस का नहीं होता है, वो जो है थिक होता है, और उसकी थिकनेस कैसे निकालते हैं वो सारी चीजें हमें डिस्कस करनी होगी। लेकिन इसका जो बैकग्राउंड है सब सरफेस फ्लो का, वो मैं आपसे पहले डिस्कस करता हूँ, और उसी लाइट में जो है उसकी थिकनेस कैसे निकालनी है और दूसरे पैरामीटर्स कैसे निकालने हैं वो करनी है। तो अगेन मैं वही एक सेक्शन जो है यहाँ पे रिपीट कर रहा हूँ। ये आपका जो है ये अप स्ट्रीम का फ्लोर हो गया, उसके बाद जो है ये क्रेस्ट हो गया, यहाँ पे ग्लेसिस आ गई, राइट, ये स्टेलिंग बेसिन आ गया, और ये एंड सील आ गई, ये, राइट। ये एक लाइन डायग्राम है, ये ऊपर की सरफेस है ना। अब इसमें हमें थिकनेस प्रोवाइड करनी पड़ती है, तो थिकनेस में हम ऐसे कर सकते हैं, ये हमारा मान लीजिए कि यहाँ तक ये थिकनेस है, यहाँ से ये थिकनेस है टिपिकल, राइट। यहाँ से जो हम लेके आ रहे हैं वो ये थिकनेस है, और यहाँ से जो है इसको हमने ऐसे ज्वाइन कर, राइट। तो ये कंक्रीट की आपकी फ्लोर हो गई, कंक्रीट की ये थिकनेस, ये कंक्रीट। कई शेप हो सकती है इसकी, राइट। और ये अप स्ट्रीम में आपका ओपन कट ऑफ हो सकता है, राइट, या शीट पाइल हो सकती है, राइट। तो एक ओपन कट ऑफ मैं दिखा देता हूं, ये ओपन कट ऑफ है इस तरह से, ये ओपन कट ऑफ अप स्ट्रीम में, और ये ओपन कट ऑफ जो है आपको डाउन स्ट्रीम। ये ऑल अलोंग द विड्थ, ऑल अलोंग द विड्थ ऑफ दिस बैराज या स्ट्रक्चर, ये आपको अप स्ट्रीम और डाउन स्ट्रीम का कट ऑफ कह लीजिए या शीट पाइल कह लीजिए, ये आपको प्रोवाइड किया जाता है, राइट। यहाँ पे ये अगर गेटेड स्ट्रक्चर है तो ये आपका गेट हो गया, और फुल ओपनिंग कंडीशन में गेट पूरी तरह से ओपन होगा। और अगर आप इसको देखें, जो सरफेस फ्लो की बात थी, तो हमारा मान लीजिए कि इसमें जो फ्लो लाइंस जो बन रही है वो ऐसे आ रही हैं, और ये ऐसे आपको, एक मिनट, तो ये जो सरफेस फ्लो की जो बात है, ये हमने ऑलरेडी आपसे डिस्कस कर चुके हैं। यहाँ इसके अप स्ट्रीम में लूज प्रोटेक्शन प्रोवाइड की जाती है, लेकिन मैं अभी फिलहाल अर्थ दिखा देता हूँ, इसके नीचे भी लूज प्रोटेक्शन होती है, अर्थ दिखा देता हूँ, है ना, अर्थ मटेरियल, राइट। एंड बिलो दिस स्ट्रक्चर द सॉइल इज ए परवियस सॉइल, राइट, परवियस एंड परमेबल सॉइल, राइट। तो नीचे की जो सॉइल है ये आपको परमेबल सॉइल, राइट। तो एक तो फ्लो आपकी ये सरफेस फ्लो हो गई, लेकिन इसके साथ जो है, आई थिंक यू माइट हैव गॉन थ्रू in the some other courses, maybe in the soil mechanics, right, or maybe in the groundwater flow, okay, under the course of the hydrology there is a small component, right. तो जो पानी यहाँ से सीप करेगा, जो पानी यहाँ से सीप करेगा, राइट, वो सीप करके जो है आपकी एक इसकी फ्लो पाथ बनेगी। ये दिस विल गो लाइक दिस, दिस विल गो लाइक दिस, ओके, दिस विल गो लाइक दिस, और ये आप इसकी आपको स्ट्रीम लाइन इसकी बन गई, राइट। और इसी तरीके से और भी आपकी फ्लो लाइंस जो हैं, दिस फ्लो लाइंस दैट विल गो लाइक दिस, ओके। Right, these are the flow lines, right. So these are the flow lines, and I think you have come across the equipotential line, okay, right. So let me draw, this is the one equipotential line, and this one is the one equipotential line, okay. And in between, of course, the flow lines, right, and the equipotential line, that will be perpendicular to each other, okay. और ऐसे प्लॉट करते हैं ताकि ये एक स्क्वायर बन जाए, तो विल गेट लाइक दिस। So these are your equipotential line. और ये जो है आपकी फ्लो लाइंस, ये आपकी फ्लो लाइंस। तो जो ऊपर का फ्लो होता है उसके साथ साथ जो है नीचे भी फ्लो करती है, राइट।